Welcome to another episode of Off the Menu with me, Minnie Jacob, where culinary meets the cerebral. Today, we are diving into one of the most high stakes decisions a restaurateur can make: where and how to expand. My guest today is a master strategist with deep insights into the GCC's fast evolving F&B landscape. We're talking sites, signals, and scalable visions with a special lens on Saudi Arabia. Meet Haytham EL Kasabgy, Director of Real Estate at Altawaka Food Company, KSA. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Minnie. Thank you very much for the introduction, and I'm very delighted to be with you and your listeners as well. Thank you.
What are the top 3 factors you consider when selecting a restaurant site in Saudi Arabia or the GCC?
Purely, I'm always telling my team and for myself, when I start to an area to expand or a city or even new market, the first thing on the site is the ecosystem. What is the catchment, the customer demographics? What is the brand targeting? And from there, we start to target the areas that we are looking for, as well as then we start to look deeply and dig deeply into the site itself, or the real estate, as the piece of real estate looks like. If it's a piece of land for a freestand, a store, high street location. So the real estate should have the maximum visibility and easy accessibility for the customers, at least this is the beginning of his experience with the restaurant, the accessibility to the restaurant. So he have seen me, he stopped, he wanna enter to my store, and from there, he is also the right customer and the right ecosystem for us.
Right. Of course, the selection of a site and everything that's the first and the most important part of scaling and for any brand, right?
100%. This is one of my previous bosses told me, you are leading the whole train.
I would totally imagine that.
Yes.
That's a fact, because everybody else can blame it on the person who selected this.
Exactly. And that's why we have a lot of visits to the new sites, evaluating the new sites from different angles. Not even the real estate point of view. The real estate should have the discussion with the operation, who will operate the store or the restaurant, has the discussion with the finance, has the discussion with the marketing. Because also the people of the marketing, they have their own view. And we collect all the ideas around the site and we start to filter it. We start to put all of these inputs in one sheet or one document, whatever the format that the real estate team are using. And from there we see what is the scoring. Let's call it a scorecard. Okay.
Right.
Is it below our expectation? Is it above our expectation? Then from there we start to take the final decision. Can we proceed with this or not?
Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure it is a huge task in itself, but I'm sure and we have seen as well, there are brands that have made some mistakes in doing this site selection. So what are the common mistakes according to you, especially when brands are selecting their first location? What do you think they may go wrong? Where do you think they go wrong?
The most common mistake that's always happening is, and let me take Saudi as an example. Most of the brands that coming to Saudi markets, they are dealing with Saudi as it's another market. No, it's not another market. Let me tell you from my experience with Saudi, each area and each region, they have their own perspective, they have their own habit of shopping, and they have their own even going to the restaurants. Okay, each region has different criteria and different ways of thinking, so he need to think from this perspective. Saudi, it's not an easy market, but you need to understand that it's not another market. And this is applicable also for all the other GCC's market, because the real estate is different between market and market. I have spoke about the customer demographics, but also the real estate is different. For example, in Saudi, you can find a prime location direct on the main road. This is not applicable in Kuwait, for example. Okay, right. Kuwait also has another real estate criteria. So My advice for anyone who's picking or entering new market, he need to stay there for quite time to understand what is the market, where is the attraction and the destination hubs for the customer. He need to understand where should be the first spot that I should open, where I'm targeting my customer. This is the common mistake that I have seen for the new entry brands. They just follow, let me say, 2 years behind, because he's coming to the market. He is not following what is the trendy areas or trend locations, and he will open in 2 years, 3 spots back. We should target it and open there before.
Right, right, right. So have there been situations in your experience where you have selected a site, like you said, you have a scorecard and you go as per what your scorecard says, and it looked promising on paper, but it didn't deliver? And has there ever been a situation like that? And what did you learn from it?
Definitely. Yes, the recent one which I had in the top of my mind, it happened was one of the international coffee operators, and we opened a store on a top A niche location. Name it whatever you name it. It's a very top location, and it's located on one of the links, one of the main roads in Riyadh city, and nothing is blocking the visibility. It's visible over 200 meters before the location, a prime drive-through location. Everyone visited the location. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. And then all of the sudden, after the opening, we found the performance is below, ways below, is doing like 25 or 30% from the expectations. And okay, this is where the real estate need to get back again and involve into the process. You need to go and see what's happening. Maybe
Okay.
there is something need to be added. Maybe directional signage to enter to the site. Site is very visible, but missing the traffic.
Right.
And this is actually what was happening, that the people, they pass by the site, but they don't have enough accessible point. And from there, we start to fix it with the landlord, and we managed there. And then the trend of the sales went up again.
Wow. That must be quite an experience, no? I mean, and it's as small as signage is. The whole situation arose.
It's a very tiny signage, like 1 meter height, and that's it.
That
It's fixed.
changed it all.
That changed the whole game.
So you also look, when you look at scalability of a brand, like, I mean, everybody wants to scale. There is ambition, there is capital. But apart from those two, what do you think is, or what, according to you, is the litmus test for whether a brand is actually scalable?
And can you repeat this one again, Mini?
So, what do you think? What's your litmus test for whether a brand is actually scalable? I mean, of course, ambition and capital is there,
Yep.
but beyond that, what else matters? And what else do you look at?
Look, in some of the cases, we witness brands coming, and they have in their mind a certain number of openings. They need to make it in the Middle East or in market. But when we go through what is the brand is presenting and what is the customer needs into this markets, we found like 20% of their expectations that will be the scalable openings and penetration for the brand. If he will add more than this, we will face a cannibalization issue, and the stores will start to eat from the sales, the same sales, because as long as the customer is fixed and the number of the customer that are coming to your restaurants are fixed, you cannot add more unless you have a new experience or something you will target more customers with. But as long as your menu or your experience is the same, your customer will be the same. So if you will add more stores, the portion for each store from this sales will be reduced. This is the cannibalization. So my advice is yes, we have to go through what is the brand is presenting and what is the market needs, and then we will start to do this formula. I have done this before with one of also the coffee operators back in, because at this time we plan to open in the second and third tier cities in KSA. We finished and we have done the penetration in the first cities like Riyadh, Jeddah, Dammam, Khobar, and that was the time to enter the second level. And we have done a market share. Where are we? Are we able to go into this markets or not? What is the market share? Do we have this share that will allow us to open or not? After answering all of this and collecting all of the data, yes, we entered. As we took the decision and we entered, because as long as the decision is based on facts and numbers, your risk will be minimal.
Do you also evaluate whether to go solo in terms of expansion or franchising or partner with any local operators for expansion? What are your thoughts on that? How does one decide?
Yeah, the local operators, their point of view is a little bit different than the international. The international is willing to add more branding to his brand and maintain the position, the brand position in the market and in the region. The local is a little bit different. He's not looking from a global perspective or a regional perspective. He's thinking about the market perspective itself, and that's why the list of interest will be different from the local brands. For example, yeah, he wants his brand to be solid and has a market share, but with the minimum investment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I will call it this way. So he will not be able to open like 5 restaurants in one small city.
Right.
Although that he have the flexibility to open different models, because some of the international brand, they don't have the flexibility for generating or designing new models or new real estate. Like I have a freestand, a drive-through, and I have also a kiosk drive-through without seating. So some of the international brands, they don't have this flexibility, but the local should have it. But also, the local is thinking a little bit from his profit, okay, which is we all looking for this. But the commercial sense of branding the brand itself is less than the international. That's why.
Right. Right. So you talked about how the rules and how the real estate is different in different GCC countries. Now, if you were to pick one GCC country to put a brand's first regional footprint, which country would you choose, and why would the others get left out?
Regionally, you mean in the Middle East or
In the
GCC?
Middle East, in GCC,
So
yes.
yeah, so the first location should be in Emirates.
Okay.
Yeah. So from Emirates, because in Emirates, let's say one of the big markets here in the GCC, attraction point, even for all the GCC residents. Okay. So all the GCC residents will know the brand there in their vacation, in their summer vacation, winter vacation, New Year. And when they are back to their markets, they will have the brand in their mind. It will be easier to open in their market, the first one. And this has happened with most of the brands.
Okay.
It wasn't known in the region, but when they open in a top prime location in Dubai, it become very famous in the GCC. And when they opened the first one in Saudi, for example, there were queues of lines of customers at the opening day.
So that the news travels and people bring back the memories.
Yes. So my advice is, yeah, we can do a prototype with the host brand. We opened the first one in one of the big malls in Dubai. And then from there, we start to open in Saudi, Kuwait, all the markets.
If I could ask you to give restaurateurs one advice of an underrated metric for successful expansion in the GCC, what is the one metric which is underrated but which you think is very important for expansion in GCC? What would it be?
So the underrating metric is having the right commercial for any site. Most of the new entries to the market, actually what they are doing, they don't have what is the benchmark for the market. and they say, okay, I want this site, I will open it. What is the rentals? Let's proceed with this. And actually, this is affecting the brands which is inside the market. So my advice to any new entry, and please consider this line on your list, you have to study the market well. You have to get the benchmark well, because it's not about winning a real estate. It's about having the real estate with the real price and not overrated price. So most of the new brands, they are not looking at that. I found myself, I'm paying a higher rent because there are two new brands enter to the market and they have in the same location, and they raise the benchmark because of this.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Haytham. That was a lot of good information, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Minnie, for having me, and thank you for your listeners as well. Thank you.
So today, Haytham has dropped some serious gems, and from what makes a site truly work to why expansion is more than just picking a spot on the map. If this chat got you thinking differently about growth, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay bold, stay smart, and keep building something that lasts. You've been listening to Off the Menu. Catch you soon.